It's good to have you there. This is the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN Television. You are on to the news on the hour. I am Fulusho Taiwo. You're welcome. The General Secretary of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Venerable Dr. Paul Geshinan, has expressed his disappointment over the postponement of the presidential and National Assembly elections of last Saturday. According to the General Secretary, though he was discouraged, but he was also comforted that God has a way of arranging things for the great country. Venerable Paul Geshinan made this statement during an interview with newsmen in Abuja.
I was a bit surprised because I was not thinking of postponement at all. I had collected my kit for election observer as a member of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion observer, and I was looking forward to observing the presidential election, the National Assembly election. But when I got up in the morning, I decided to read through my news online, and I saw that the election has been postponed. At first, I was disappointed. But in a second thought, I said, well, there's nothing that happens without God's permission. So I saw that as God's way of arranging everything concerning Nigeria. With that, I was relaxed, I was happy, and I also thank God that it gave me opportunity to rest at home. But I was also praying for Nigeria because I look forward to going to the polls again on Saturday, the 23rd of February. So there's no issues with me.
He also called on Nigerians not to lose hope with the turnout of events last Saturday, but should go out en masse on 23rd and cast their votes.
So I want to encourage people who are discouraged to go out still and vote. I know it costs them their time, it costs them their resources to travel, and then only to be told that election has been postponed. But do not be discouraged. I encourage Nigerians not to be discouraged, but to go out again. Even if it will take some fortune from you, still go ahead and vote, because the disappointment of one day is better than the disappointment of 4 years.
As Nigerians continue to react over the postponement of the presidential and National Assembly elections on Saturday, 16th to 23rd of February 2019, some Anglican clerics have condemned the act in strong terms, stating that they were disappointed with the electoral umpire. The clerics made their assertion while speaking in an interview with ACNN news correspondent Nwane Ogechukwu in Abuja. Some of the clerics of the view that nothing happens without the involvement of God.
Yes, as a Nigerian, I will tell you sincerely I wasn't happy. And for some of us who have actually been anxious, waiting for this election, we got the news immediately it was released. Many were not sleeping. We have been anxious, waiting for this day to come, only for us to get this news few hours to the election. It came at a very bad time when nobody was expecting any such disappointment. So I was really disappointed.
Well, I didn't feel good because we thought the elections would have had or commenced on Saturday as scheduled. So nobody will feel happy with that kind of development. But in all things, as the scripture tells us, we give thanks to God, because we don't know what God has saved us from, even as a people.
First of all, it was so embarrassing to Nigerians, looking at the focus of what we are looking for, electing a leader that will rule Nigeria in good faith. But as we think alone, and with the prayer of the children of God, to us, it becomes something that we think it was right to do, because God has his own way in the Nigerian and the Nigerians.
They urge Nigerians not to be discouraged with what has happened, but should be ready to pay sacrifices that will make the country great again.
We want to appeal to Nigerians, because the election this time is a decisive one. This election is going to determine the destiny of Nigeria as a nation. And being a citizen, you cannot separate your destiny from the destiny of your nation. Whatever becomes of this country, you have a share, I have a share. We cannot run away from it. So we want to appeal to people, no matter how discouraged you may be, it is still worth it. Making another effort to vote, it is still worth it. Because if at the end of the day, what we all are praying for, we couldn't get it because we couldn't take another step, we couldn't make further sacrifice to vote, the long years of regret, I think it will be worse than making another sacrifice to go and vote. So we want to appeal to Nigerians, still make the sacrifice to go and vote. Don't be too discouraged to resign to fate.
So if we claim we are Nigerians and we love our country, we should be ready to go the extra mile, pay whatever price that we need to pay to get our country to the height and level we want it to be. So I don't think any sacrifice at this point is too much for any Nigerian to pay. It's challenging, it's difficult, but anyhow, we have to pay the price. Return back to the polling units to cast your votes on Saturday.
The clerics also spoke on the role that the church is supposed to play in ensuring that members of their congregation return to the poll to exercise their franchise.
Yeah, the church certainly have a role to play, and I know some ministers of God have spoken to their members on Sunday to keep calm, first of all. Don't get violent. Don't take laws into your hands. Don't lose hope in the project Nigeria. And that is what I think the church should do. But above all, the church should intensify her prayers. Because we know by the word of God that all things work together for our good. So whether the election is postponed, the Bible made us know that it will still work together for our good. So the church should pray more while encouraging our members to still go out and vote.
The vicar of St. Matthew's Anglican Church, Gwarimpa, Abuja, the Venerable Ephraim Akaya, has also expressed his disappointment over the postponement of the election of 16th February. According to him, though he was somehow surprised when he heard of the postponement of the election, but he was not totally surprised because Nigeria is full of surprises. Venerable Akaya made this statement in an interview with ACNN news correspondent Blessing Ugochukwu in Abuja.
The much talked about 2019 election on the 16th have been postponed. Well, like every Nigerian, I was not too shocked, because if there is anywhere anything can happen, it's in Nigeria. You understand? In Nigeria, there is nothing that cannot happen, except God says this thing shouldn't happen. So that day we couldn't go and vote. We were going to vote. And I started imagining why the cancellation of that, well, rather postponement, not a cancellation, because it hasn't been done. And they started giving us reasons of logistics and the rest of them. Fine. What I prayed, and I've asked people to pray about, is that even though it has been postponed, on the 23rd, when that election is going to be held, let it be peaceful, let it be credible, let it be free and fair. That's my prayer. And I think it's the prayer of every Nigerian, every well-meaning Nigerian.
He also called on the electoral umpire not to lose the confidence that Nigerians repose in them.
I pray INEC will have a listening ear and be listening to what people are saying, that people are already suspecting them to be partisan already. People are already suspecting them to have concluded on what they want to do. Let them prove Nigerians wrong, that the way they are looking at things is not the way they are going. I particularly believe in INEC. I know they can deliver. And the person that is there is not an ordinary beginner or somebody who doesn't know anything. A professor, he should be able, he should know what is at stake. I know he knows.
The Nigeria Labour Congress NLC has asked government to declare 2 or 3 day public holidays to enable workers travel to perform their civic responsibilities in the face of imminent voter apathy as a result of the shift in the date of the general elections. The Congress also asked Nigerians, especially workers, not to be disillusioned with the postponement of the elections, but they should go all out and cast their vote, saying the postponement of the election was a better evil than disenfranchising several millions of Nigerians. President of the Congress, Comrade Ayuba Waba, said in a statement that from evidence available, many people wouldn't have been able to cast their votes as a result of logistics problems if the election had been allowed to go as scheduled. He thereafter advised INEC to deploy all efforts and expertise to guarantee free, fair, and credible elections. He also appealed to all Nigerians to put this incident behind them and go all out en masse to vote next weekend. We shall now go on a short commercial break. We shall be back. Please stay with us.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has spelled out the voting procedures for the 2019 general elections via its verified Twitter handle, INEC Nigeria. The following are the 7 steps as stated by INEC. Step 1. Upon arrival at the polling unit, join the queue and present yourself to the INEC official at the polling unit, who will determine whether you are at the correct polling unit and check if the photograph on the permanent voter's card matches your face. If satisfied, he or she will direct you to the next INEC official. Step 2. The official will request for your PVC to confirm that your card is genuine and your details using the smart card reader. He or she will ask you to place your finger on the card reader to confirm that the PVC belongs to you. By ascertaining, the card reader will contain the name, photograph, and fingerprints of all those registered in their polling unit. Step 3. You will then meet the next official who will request for your PVC to confirm that your name and your details are in the voters register. Your name will be ticked and your PVC returned to you. He or she will then apply indelible ink to the cubicle of your appropriate finger for that election to show that you have been accredited to vote. If your name is not found on the register, you will not be allowed to vote. Step 4. The presiding officer stamps, signs, and endorses the date at the back of the ballot paper. The presiding officer will roll the ballot paper inwardly with the printed side inward and give it to you. He or she will then direct you to the voting cubicle where you will vote in secret. Step 5. You will stain your appropriate finger for the election with the ink provided. Then use your stained finger to mark the space or ballot provided on the ballot paper for your preferred candidate or party. Roll the marked ballot paper in the manner the presiding officer gave you. Step 6. Then leave the voting cubicle and drop the ballot paper in the ballot box in full view of people at the polling unit. Step 7. You will then leave the polling unit or wait, if you so choose, in an orderly and peaceful manner to walk the process up to the declaration of results. Note: the results of each polling unit shall be pasted at the unit and for everyone to see.
You are welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or youtube.com/acnntv. To be up to date with news and other programs, please download the ACNN app for Android from Google Play Store. And now to some foreign news. China is losing its war against Christianity, and the growing influx of its citizens featuring from Africa is shaping up to be another hopeless front in that war. This is as reported by an online media, the Christian Post. They reported that amidst the persecution of Christians and the attempts by the Communist government of China to stop the spread of Christianity, the church is still waxing strong. According to the report, as a result of the influx of Chinese resources in Africa and approximately 10,000 Chinese-owned companies, the estimated 227,000 to 1 million Chinese working on the continent are hearing the message of the gospel of Christ from African evangelical Christians. Many local African churches have reached out to Chinese workers, including incorporating Mandarin into services, and a number of Chinese, in turn, have welcomed the sense of community and belonging that these Christian churches offer. The report also has it that a small but growing number of ethnically Chinese missionaries from Taiwan and other countries are specifically targeting Chinese nationals in Africa, preaching to them with a freedom they had never been allowed in China. When those evangelized Chinese Christians return home from Africa, they bring their new faith with them. Flying Eagles head coach Paul Aigbogun is disappointed to see charges end their campaign at the 2019 Under-20 African Cup of Nations in Miami on a negative note following a 5-3 penalty shootout defeat to South Africa. In Saturday's third-place match, the West Africans dominated proceedings inside the Seini Kanche Stadium, but were unable to break down the Amajita, who were resolute in defense. And Aigbogun regrets that his team's outing in Niger ended with a defeat. Penalty shootout was required to determine the winner after both teams failed to find the back of the net in regulation time. It was, however, the South Africans that carried the day, scoring all their 5 penalties, with the impressive Ibrahim Al-Hassan missing for Nigeria. A visibly disappointed Aigbogun laments his side's inability to score before full-time, despite their obvious dominance. Nigeria and South Africa, alongside with the 2 finalists, Senegal and Mali, will be the continent's representatives at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland in May. Mali and Senegal will battle for the top prize in Miami as biennial tournament reaches its climax. And so that's it on this edition of the News on the Hour. We want to thank you, and thank you profusely for watching. I am Folusho Taiwo. Please mend it. Don't end it in a hurry. God bless you.